We keep saying, healthcare is evolving. More tech, more tools, more funding. But here's the uncomfortable question. Why are families, especially those with complex pediatric needs, still completely lost in the system? If your solution isn't making care easier to navigate, it might be part of the problem. In this episode, I'm joined by Trish Hayes, Chief Medical Officer at Imagine Pediatrics, to unpack what real innovation in pediatric care actually looks like.
Healthcare entrepreneurs, are you ready to rewrite the rules for your business so you can have more time off, a great team, and more income while creating a positive social impact? Then you are in the right place. Welcome to The Provider's Edge. I'm your host, Sabrina Runbeck. I'm a provider, an international peak performance keynote speaker, and a best-selling author. Let's open the gateway to profitability for you today. My guests and I help healthcare entrepreneurs and startup founders like you break through barriers so you can control your business, control your life, and control your future. This is your defining moment to be a disruptor in healthcare.
We are at Health, another exciting event with Trish. And so excited for you to join us and really talk about how we take care our children with technology. So what's so exciting about being here? This is not your first time at Health. So what is it that got you going when you come to these events?
I think it's just seeing all of the transformation that's happening in healthcare in general, and just how, we're moving it forward. We are making changes, addressing the different gaps that exist. And, there's still a big gap for pediatrics in, I feel like, the tech space. And we're excited to bring a little bit of voice around, health tech for pediatrics.
Yeah, I think in recent years I've been seeing many that come out of work for preventing bullying, stronger mental fitness for kids, and then tracker system, right, safety. So tell us a little bit more about what you have built and how did you come up to that idea of building it?
So what we've built is a tech-enabled multidisciplinary team that provides medical, behavioral, and social care to children who have special health care needs. So we wrap around the care teams that they already have in their own, environments external to Imagine Pediatrics, and support their PCPs as well, their specialists, their, home health providers, to really fill in gaps that they may have in, barriers that they may have. That it's such a challenging space in healthcare, and for these families, it's particularly difficult for them to navigate the system, especially children with special healthcare needs. They have so many different specialists they're engaging with at times. They have different, people in the school that they're engaging with, people that, they don't even know who to turn to. Sometimes what we can do is really help them navigate, and we built this because these families need that support, and they're really, lacking that access to care, the access to navigation, care coordination, and medical, behavioral, social support that they need to be successful.
Yeah, kids definitely, for whether it is especially in the more of a distant rural area, right? Mm-hmm. And then even inner city, I think a lot of kids still don't know what they have ability to ask for help. And then when they got pulled out of the school, then it's a burden for the parents to take days off and figure out their whole schedule. And what does that customer journey looks like when they engage with you guys?
So as soon as they enroll in our program, it's an opt-in program. They have immediate 24/7 access to us through our mobile app. We can empower them with digital technology if they don't have a smart device, but from their smart device, which I think this caregiver generation is very tech forward, right? You want to be able to, do a message to book an appointment or to speak with people. You want that sort of instant access, and we provide that through our app services, and really figure out from the get-go what these families need. So we do a pretty intensive intake with the families, figure out what their challenges are, what are their burdens, what are the things things that they need. Because again, you spoke to rural care, and it's very different. You see this very big spectrum of needs, whether somebody is really well set up, they're in an urban environment, they have a lot of access to, specialty care and big pediatric hospitals, and then you may have somebody living in an urban or a rural environment where they just don't have that same access to care. And so because we do things digitally and virtually, it allows us to expand that access into places where historically people have not had that support and have had access challenges.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit more where are you guys at, right? Like where's the company at? How many locations you guys are already going, right? And where you guys wanted to expand for the next year?
Oh, our goal is to see every child with special healthcare needs across the entire country, but we're currently in Texas, Florida, DC, and starting operations in Georgia, Louisiana, and several other states in 2026. So growing rapidly, really exciting period for us at Imagine Pediatrics. But again, that virtual capability and the in-home capability allows us to really have our footprint in a lot of spaces, so we're not as challenged by having to have a clinic in a specific location. We can really get to places a lot of folks really need us.
Correct. I mean, Houston, even though Houston now is like one of the largest top 5, right?
Yeah.
Metropolitan, but we see all these ancillary, right? Once you're outside of the big city, then it's almost feel like a middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So we have plenty of that same thing in Florida, and then one of my partners over there, right? Yeah, you have your Miami, Tampa, Orlando, but outside of those, it seems like really hard to reach out. So even when I was practicing medicine, traveling out to those clinics just to support and cardiac support, and you realize where you are so fortunate in the larger cities that you don't get anywhere else. So if we can't expand our care to these kids, then they are our future. And how do we eventually have them to grow the society and take care of us at the back end? So when you think about a special need, are you guys particularly locked in certain profiles? How are you reaching out to these kids or parents to be able to identify you guys?
So we actually work with health plan partners when we contract with them, and we've got an algorithm that we can utilize to identify what type of patients would most benefit from our services. So these are typically children who have multiple comorbidities. They may have an enduring complex chronic disease such as diabetes, cystic fibrosis, genetic conditions, cerebral palsy. And we also see children with severe mental illness that is persistent. So children who have bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, severe depression, suicidal ideation. And so we work with the health plan partners to identify those cohorts of patients. And I think what's different about pediatrics, which from adult care, is that these populations of children are super heterogeneous. One child doesn't necessarily look like the other, even if they have the same condition, whereas in an adult population, you have your big like CHF and CKD, and you've got, coronary artery disease, and the big things that you're always sort of tackling. With pediatrics, they can have so many different, phenotypes, even within the same disorder. So one child with cerebral palsy does not look like the other. So it really is a spectrum of kids that we're seeing, anywhere from a child, again, with really moderate, persistent asthma, who is a frequent utilizer of emergency medicine. Again, that access challenge they may be facing, we're able to sort of come in and support, to children who are, dependent on medical technology for their care. They have a tracheostomy, and they may be ventilated, and they have a G-tube, which is their predominant means of feeding. The children look very different, but we work with our plan partners to identify them.
Yeah, so it seems like what you guys do really well now is like going for all the payers, the plan partners who already identify these kids in need. So we're helping the most highly needed kids and to get to the resource and support they have. One of my partners, they have neurodivergent kids, right? And then it's also a challenge to find both healthcare support as well as a school to combine them, right? And I think that now parents start looking at neurodivergent, these specialty health kids are having resources. It's just a matter of how do you connect to the point of their need and proactively. I think the technology really got us to the point where we're not have to be so reactive. Oh, your kids have to diagnose all those things before we really thinking about it. Now, because it's tied to the health plan, you guys are proactively on what can be, what's the best thing, what's the easier for them, right? And then does it seem like that both the children themselves as well as their parents and caregivers are able to get on your app platform to start engaging?
Yes, yeah. So with appropriate consent, children over 12 can have access to the app themselves and be able to message us and, get access to therapy if they need support from nursing, care coordination. They, are very tech forward. If they don't get it from someplace that is reasonable, reputable, they're going to get information from the internet. We really prefer that they're connected to somebody who can support them in a really safe and protected way. And so we work with both the parents and the children to have that support through our digital platform.
Awesome. And then as we wrap up, I always like to ask that fun way of question. If we give you a magic wand, and this magic wand will grant you 3 wishes to help you fast track your goals for the next year, what would you use that for?
Oh my. Gosh, I think just being able to keep up with the demand that we have. I think that it's, the scaling in healthcare, some of the challenges is just being able to, get your technology to move fast enough, hire enough, amazing staff, clinicians, so I would love to be able to have continue to grow this amazing clinical staff that we have quickly as we scale, because we're incredibly selective about who we bring into the company, because they must have the ability to, one, be innovative about how they're providing healthcare, but also have that empathy and the desire to work with children who have a complicated journey, whose caregivers have a complicated journey. And so I just love sending all of the amazing healthcare professionals and folks that want to change healthcare for kids, because I think, it's a special talent you're looking for.
Yeah, and I definitely have worked with pediatricians who are growing at this special area, right? As we said, there are the mental health niche, there are the urgent care niche, right? Plenty of hospital don't even hire pediatrician for the urgent or ER anymore, right? Because the cost effectiveness and whatnot. So then either they get shipped out, or you have to train the people who are used to work with adults. And so be able to understand those pathways, combining all the resources with yours, with what we can see day to day, plus all the other catastrophe supports, that becomes what truly meaningful, right? And then having the right people, we always believe, human capital is number one for scalability. And most people couldn't even see that, right? They see that, we have the right tools and technology, then people just understand.
The technology is worthless if you don't have the right people to use it. So.
Exactly. And then is a part of that is education, right? Family need to be very empathetically supported to that journey. And so it's not about who did it wrong. It's simply just what can we fill the gap, and then be open to that growth mindset of innovative.
I agree.
And for me, I have such a big passion for more women physicians to lead innovation, to be taking C-suites and then invest into the space. And that's how we can also close the women-led company not having enough funding and growth support. Right? It's not that we don't take risks. We do take risks. It's how many of the right people can be there to take risks with us.
No, we've got amazing investors who see the potential and want to do the right thing, and we've been really, really blessed to have that support. But I completely agree. It's not, it's a scary place to jump into, and there's not a lot of innovation, like I said, in the pediatric space. And so it's been real fun to be able to do this. And I think we have a responsibility in healthcare to do better. We have to be better, right? You're in the healthcare space, you've provided medical care. It's a tough environment, full of burnout, full of folks feeling like they can't do enough, they can't be enough for their patients and the caregivers. We need to do better, right? We have to fix it.
We have to fix it. And also it's when we belong to a larger system, we're always seen as a number, right? What's your RVUs? How much are you building? For me in surgery, it's always how many cases are you doing, right? So it becomes less of what we got into medicine for what the care could be, then it's driven by this business model. Now, that's the reality of we have to create impact that measured by something, but that shouldn't be the ultimate measurement of what KPI for what a clinician and impact for healthcare is. And then I love what you guys are doing, focusing on the kids, knowing how to identify them with the payer side. So as we wrap up, how do you want people to connect with you when they wanted to continue these conversations?
You can reach out to us. We've got contact information on our website at imaginepediatrics.org, or you can reach out to me directly on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Yeah. LinkedIn is an amazing place. All the physicians is standing out, right? Really driving your personal brand and its mission. So we appreciate for everybody who's really thinking about and already engaged in pediatric innovations. We would love to hear from you, whether you post on LinkedIn, tag Trish, tag myself, or anywhere that you're listening. We would love to hear what are something that you're working on. How do you collaborate with the innovation like what Trish has? And how can you all work together to do better? Right?
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, innovation is not a silo. It is always about tapping into each other's expertise with the right people, with the right resources, and then we can go much further.
Absolutely.
Thank you for listening. Remember, the positive change we're seeking starts right here with me and you. If you are a fan of the show, or if you are just having struggles or success that you're either experienced in the past or are experiencing now in the healthcare industry, these matter to all of us. I want to hear from you. Visit sabrinarunbeck.com/connect and send me a direct message. Talk soon.